play Glastonbury was an absolute dream. So that was an amazing sort of bucket list moment, and hopefully it's the first of other years of doing that again.
Get Radio Breakfast with Rich Smith.
Band Week, yes, the return of Band Week. This is where we dedicate a whole week to the wonderful musicians across Oxfordshire, and what a plethora of talent that we have and showcase this week. And what better place to start than the fantastic, the brilliant Dolly Mavies. Good morning, Dolly.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm really well. Thanks. I'm so pleased that you're kicking off Band Week for us here on Get Radio, because the last time we spoke actually wasn't that long ago, but a lot has happened. I think we caught up with you just before Wychwood, and in that time you performed at Wychwood and went to Glastonbury as well. So come, spill the beans. I want to find out how those performances were. How was it for you?
Yeah, it was amazing. I know it doesn't feel like it was that long ago, and quite a lot has happened in a short space of time. And I can't remember if we were actually going to Glastonbury when I spoke to you before, but because it all happened quite quickly. So yeah, we had an amazing time. And we'd never been before. Walked about 80 miles, so and some good innings.
That's a bit of a baptism of fire, isn't it? Just kind of going in there, going, "Oh, I've never been before," and then come away after 4 or 5 days there and go, "I've basically walked the length and the breadth of the country, seeing people and things." That's amazing, and just performing on those kind of festival lineups and stages. What does it kind of mean to you? Are you kind of soaking it all in still? Is it still kind of like the eyes are kind of wide open and going, wow, this is incredible?
Yeah, I think to play Glastonbury was an absolute dream. So that was an amazing sort of bucket list moment, and hopefully it's the first of other years of doing that again. And I think every time is still so much fun, and it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing. It's always really nice because the crowd's different, and you have a different energy every time you're playing, and depending on what songs you decide to play and things like that. So yeah, it's been so much fun, especially in the summer. We love the festivals because it's such a nice, whatever festival it is, everyone's there to have a good time and enjoy the music. So that's really, really, really fun.
No, mate, I saw an interview with Keane, I think it was, at Glastonbury, and they were kind of, they've been doing stuff for a long time, but they said in the interview they kind of went round the stages that they'd performed on, and they were kind of like, oh yeah, we started out on this stage, then we moved on to, a couple of years later moved on to this stage, and then moved on to. Did you have that moment when you were kind of there performing and kind of going, okay, right, we're here now, this is where we're going to be, and then okay, next year let's try and aim for, or a couple of years time, let's try and aim for that stage, and then after that, and then come maybe a few years down the line or something, let's get the old pyramid stage, shall we?
Yeah, I think you have to. I think you have to, have those sort of goals and aspirations, because you want to do bigger and better things all the time. And we saw Keane actually, and they were absolutely incredible. And they are just an amazing band and can perform incredibly. And they sort of said, I can't remember if it's 10 years before or 20 years before, was like their debut at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And then you just think like, oh, that's really cool. So they've, obviously it's a long stead, like, there's quite a few years to go potentially, but I think if you stick around, it's worth it for sure.
No, definitely, it absolutely is, and the summer kind of months continue performing loads absolutely everywhere. What have you got coming up? I mean, it's 2 massive highlights that have been and gone, but still more coming up this year, certainly.
Yeah, so I'm playing at the Long Road Festival and at Camper Calling at the end of August. So those are like quite cool, sort of more local festivals, I guess, but quite large. And the Long Road is sort of more of a country festival, so that's quite cool. I've got friends who sort of go there every year, so it'd be nice to see what they're talking about. And then we're also doing an autumn tour, which starts not really in the autumn. Well, what is the seasons now? But we're doing sort of a bit of a HMV tour alongside a few dates we've got booked in. So we're playing in Oxford, in Birmingham, in Wales, in London. And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's so cool that the HMV have started doing this. I'm of that age when I used to go into HMV and buy all my sort of vinyl and CDs and stuff like that, kind of doing that. So HMV still holds that like that precedence and that kind of like that amazing thing. And now what they're doing with the tours and what you're doing as well. That's really cool, isn't it? I don't know if you're of that age where you kind of remember HMV before they started doing the gigs and what have you and stuff, and it was
Yeah.
kind of CDs and all this and mini discs as well. There we go, shown age, mini discs, and doing all that. But yeah, that must be really cool to be doing that.
No, it's really great. And I think HMV is such a great place, and it's been around for such a long time. And like you say, like when we were growing up, it was such a great place to go and find new music. You know, you might go on the weekend to town and like go and pick up a new CD, you know, of whatever, you just think it looked cool or something. And then like you found a new favorite band, and that's how life was.
That, it was simpler back then, wasn't it? It really was.
Yeah.
That's what we did. It was great. Brilliant stuff. That's amazing. And in terms of music, normally when we sort of speak to people, the summer months are kind of like you're getting out there, as we've just heard, you know, performing and what have you. Is it a continual process with the music? Is it kind of like, or are you kind of like, do you know what, we're performing loads, haven't got time to kind of sit down and write and be in the studio and what have you? Where are you kind of at with it?
Well, we've had a really busy summer, and like most weekends, we've had like a couple of festivals, to be honest with you. So it's been really cramming it in. But like, there's times when we have a bit of time. So like this, particularly like over the last weekend, we were looking at different tracks and trying to think about different demos and looking back through stuff. And we were saying this is like the most difficult part, because actually it's deciding what you want to come next and what feels appropriate and how it works with other things. So there might be, 50 songs that you've got that you like, but actually only 6 of them work together, and then you have to decide, and they might be the 6 you really wanted to do next, sort of thing. So it's trying to build new songs around those, and it's really exciting. It's nice, and I think there's so much that comes into play with when we're writing music, and especially when I'm sort of putting together like that whole body of work, that you have to really, putting that together takes the longest time. And actually it's quite nice amongst all the shows, you can sort of think about that. And also, you might put something in a set where somebody goes, oh my God, I love that. And you go, oh, okay, so somebody loves it as well. That's nice.
Yeah. and just maybe this is a bit of a weird question, but when you're kind of, like you say, when you've got that body of work and when you're picking and choosing, naturally you might have favorites. But like you say, that if they don't work together, and I guess this is exactly what you're saying, that the hard decision is. But is there that kind of thing of going, oh well, I have to put that one in because it goes with that one, or but I like this one. Do you know what I mean? That you've got those kind of those songs that you go, what if it was me and there was no kind of formula and there was no, I could just throw out whatever I liked, it would be these 10 tracks. But actually, but then you kind of turn around and kind of go, oh well, I'm gonna have to leave that one out because it doesn't really fit. It's not really. It's that must be a, like you say, a strange and arduous process.
It is hard, but I think the thing is, it's not that it doesn't go, like, it doesn't go in this one, but it doesn't mean it never makes the cut. So I think sometimes it's about thinking, we're sort of always thinking now and also in the future. So this album, what's the sort of vibe and what we're trying to say in the messaging, and then actually is that something for next time. But what's really nice, obviously I've got a band that work with me, and you can like go against each other on what you think is good, and sometimes you have to fight your corner for what you think should be represented. And I think sometimes that's quite good because it makes you think about why it should be front and center. And like you said, sometimes it's just like you absolutely love it, or like it's something that you really feel passionately about and want to sort of put out in the world. But yeah, it's such a hard job.
Yeah.
Trying to decide.
I could well imagine. It's amazing stuff. It's been an absolute pleasure catching up with you. Always is, Dolly. An amazing summer that you've had and continue to have as well. We'll look forward to new music when it drops, as and when. And of course, the HMV live tour. I see gigs at the Bullingdon coming later in the year when the weather might be not quite as wonderful and brilliant as it is now. But loads of fantastic stuff happening with you.